What episode?
32.
32. I thought we were further along.
We're back with episode 32 of the Living Room Chat podcast, and we're back in Matt's living room. Feels like I haven't been here for ages.
The Living Room Chat podcast. We haven't been in the living room for a little while.
No, I don't think it has the same ring, does it? You know, the office room
chat podcast.
The office chat podcast.
Not the same.
It's not the vibe, is it?
Not the same. No, you can be more open in the living room than you can in an office.
Yeah, of course you can. And I think it's also you got all that background noise as well, which isn't a problem. It adds to the atmosphere of the conversation. But certainly when editing, you can hear the background noise a lot more than this. I feel like you should be clear and crisp on podcasts.
We've got peace and quiet here today, and I want us to make the most of this space.
Nice bit of sun streaming in. It's on the good side as well. Tense up a little bit.
Getting the tats in. Lovely. Cool.
I listened to a cool stat on a podcast recently. We talked about before about the percentages of how many people do podcasts.
Yeah.
Now it was really because we kind of mumbled along about years ago. We got through our first one, and now we're into the top percentage. The guy cleared it up 100%. So here's the stats: 90% of podcasts that have ever existed have only ever made it to episode 3. So if you do episode 4, you're already into the top 10% of podcasts. Of those 10%, only 10% of those make it past episode 21.
Okay.
So basically, if you've done 22 episodes, you are in the top 1% of podcasts that have ever existed. And we're on episode 32.
So that's us.
So we're in the top 1%.
Cool, congratulations.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man. 1%. On our way to do 40.
Yeah, and we've got to do it obviously before the end of the year. Even if we just cram them all in, we will do it.
We can do that. We can spend a day just wash out 5 episodes if we needed to.
I was listening to Gary Vee say that everyone should have a podcast.
Yeah.
Just saying everyone, whatever you do, whatever your profession, whatever your interest, everyone should have a podcast. I think it's a good format. I mean, it's become a joke, hasn't it? Like, oh, not another podcast.
Yeah.
But it's a good format.
I think if you do it for the right belief and reasons, like we were very honest when we started ours. It was just we needed free therapy, and it was a good time to chat and get a bit of content for our business.
Yeah.
But I like it's kind of evolved in a good way, and then it kind of dropped off a little bit recently, which we've talked about. But I think after this year, because our first one was at the start of December last year, so it was just before the World Cup, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, of course it was.
Yeah. So we're going to be about a year into it. We'll get to 40 episodes, and then I know we spoke about it, and we have no other information at this point, but we are going to not rebrand it, but I think we're going to try and re-energise it and sort of start moving it forward, because we're getting there. Like TikTok, we're getting a couple of, got 20,000 plus videos. We've got 30,000 views on YouTube now, so we're getting there. But it'd be good to take it to the next level, I think.
I'd like to get more. Guests on. I've always enjoyed it when we've spoken to.
I think that adds a bit of a vibe, doesn't it?
So
anyway, should we dive into this episode?
Yeah. So what are we talking about?
So I think we'll just dive straight into the funny thing, because obviously, for those of you didn't see or don't remember in the episode before, we talked about boilers and why, Matt particularly, why you thought boiler inspections or services was pointless. This is a clip of the TikTok reel that I think we had over 20,000 views and hundreds of comments. This was the clip you'll see on the screen now.
Boiler servicing. I watched my boiler get serviced. I'm not sure anyone needs to get their boiler serviced ever. Is the pressure like 1.5? Yeah. Dust this off, dust that off.
100 quid, please.
Looks good for me. Sign that off. There's your boiler service. And everyone sees the boiler service and they go, oh, the boiler's heating up the hot water. It's doing the one job it's there to do. Good. I'm not sure people need to worry about it as much as they do.
That was obviously a few months ago. You're obviously in the process of selling your humble abode here. And your buyer requested a up-to-date boiler service.
I saw the inquiry come in from the solicitor. It said, when was the most recent boiler service? Would the seller be open to having a boiler service if there hasn't been one done in the last 12 months?
Which is a common request, to be fair.
Here we go. Yes, standard inquiry, I imagine, on solicitor. And I replied, said, no service record, boiler in full working order. But then the agent who...
With a link to your TikTok.
The agent I'm using just sent me a message saying, when was your last boiler service? Well, several years ago. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to get boiler service.
Yeah.
It's like, even though I don't want or need one, if they want one, whatever. Called up Backsea, 147 quid. Yep, come out on Thursday, blah, blah, blah. Came out. and I said to him, because I had a client earlier this year who they had a British gas plan, and they were about to move out, and they said, we've got a boiler service, so we're going to get that boiler service done for the next buyer. Nice thing to do. If you've got a boiler service, do it for your next buyer. The heating engineer came out and broke their boiler, so they then had to get a new boiler. So I had this story in the top of my mind, and this sort of vision of the heating engineer coming out for the boiler service, breaking my boiler, and then... So anyway, so I said to them, the main purpose of today is to not break anything. And he said, no, your boiler's fine. Your boiler's absolutely fine. Which
Pressure's 1.5, spot on.
Pressure's where it needs to be. Everything's good. I was like, okay, great. He goes, well, but I've just seen there's not a bracket in the flue pipe in the loft, so it doesn't meet regulations. And I was like, well, this house is 20 years old. The boiler's 20 years old. It's always has it been. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna have to mark this as a I can't remember what he said, but anyway. Noted it down as being incorrectly installed, and it's just bollocks.
Yeah,
it's just bollocks.
For a bracketless flume.
Sorry, that was a bit of ranting on from me there about my experience, but
what was the end of the story? So the you had big red letters on your certificate saying this is not safe to use.
Yeah, I don't really want to be putting that out into the world, but it's confessed now. Yeah, and then I thought after you get a boiler service, you'd get a bit of paper that says we've serviced your boiler, we've checked this and that. But they don't. They just send you an invoice to show you.
No, they should send you a certificate.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, you should have a certificate. Yeah, what are you going to send to solicitor?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Maybe you have to pay for it first before they send it to you.
I paid for it straight away.
You should definitely have a certificate then.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
And how much would you usually pay for a boiler service, would you say?
100 quid.
Yeah, I paid 147.
Mate, you should have spoken to me. I've got
like
two good guys. Yeah, I think you have.
I've gone straight to the manufacturer and got absolutely...
Why would you do that? Just literally type in local gas engineer, buy local, stay local, value local.
No, because every time I mention my boiler to an engineer, they go, oh, I don't know about that one, mate.
Fair enough.
I thought I'm just going to go to the manufacturer, get it done. It'll be nice and easy. But it wasn't easy. It's a shit show. So my point remains, don't worry about getting your boiler serviced.
Especially if you're selling. Fair enough.
So that's my...
I just thought it was quite funny when you sent it through to me saying, look what fucking happened. My boiler's been deemed not usable.
Oh, I already told you that bit.
Yeah, you texted me the photo as soon as it happened.
Yeah. So that was just because there's not a bracket in the...
So what are you going to do? You're going to put your own bracket on there or you get someone around to do it? Or are you just going to leave it?
I'm just going to leave it. It's been like that for 20 years.
Fair enough.
It's probably going to come and shoot me in the foot.
Yeah, they're asking me like, oh, the boiler's deemed, and like, yeah, there we go. Interesting. Well, look, I think that's quite a funny story, but it does segue nicely onto another topic I wanted to bring up with you today.
Okay.
Surveyors. Mm-hmm. Now, I like surveyors. Just go back. We pissed off heating engineers. We've pissed off double glazing salesmen, people with electric cars. Let's move on to surveyors, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I like surveyors. I have always throughout my career made a big effort to make them feel welcome when they came into the office or when I speak to them on the phone, give them time. If they call up for comparables that is, for non-estate agency folk, generally do my best to help them.
Yep.
But I do feel like they make more work for us in the sale process than they actually need to do. And the reason it's a segue from yours, is when surveyors go around, I do tell this to buyers, when they visit a property, they are not qualified to comment on the boiler or gas and also the electrics. So typically, in every survey report that I say, doesn't matter how old the house is, there's normally flagged with a level 3 or 3, which means, needs attention ASAP now.
A red one. For those of you who've ever looked at a survey, this is a red issue, isn't it?
Red issue.
Not an amber or green, this is a red.
And if you don't prep the buyer for that red, they're calling you straight away saying, oh my God, the surveyor said the house is going to blow up and the electrics are going to start a fire tomorrow and I'm not going to buy it. Why don't they just put a little disclaimer in to say, rather than a 3 or make it a big hoo-ha, just say, I'm not qualified to mention about the boiler, you need to seek professional advice. Why don't you just do that rather than putting a 3? I don't understand. What's your views?
I totally agree. Yeah. And I think all of the whole house moving process is almost geared up to make estate agents look bad.
Yeah.
Because we are selling a house to a buyer.
Yeah.
There is no obligation on the seller to do anything before
No.
it's put on the market. So they don't need a gas safety certificate, they don't need an electric certificate, they don't need any of this stuff.
No.
But most buyers will get that survey done, and as you say, the gas will always come back as red and the electric always comes back as red. So they're two key parts of the house, which on any survey is going to come back as red.
Yeah.
Buyers don't know how to digest a survey.
Yeah.
So it's like, by default, every house has an electric and a gas problem.
Yeah.
And no one believes what the estate agent says, because the estate agent's going to say, don't worry about it, of course they are.
Yeah.
But then there's no need for the seller to get these gas and electric certificates done up front. So it just annoys me that the whole process, either have it so you need a gas safety certificate and the ICR for every property that's sold, which I actually don't think is a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Or, like you say, have a disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
Or have some kind of context in the survey.
It's kind of like, so my conversation now with the buyer before the survey happens, and I have it on every single one, just to let you know, the surveyor you've selected, and even if it's my recommended one, the surveyor you selected, they are not qualified to comment on the gas boiler or the electrics, okay? So they will be flagged as a 3, as a red, but there's no issue. The paperwork you can request via the solicitors, okay? We already know it's old, we know it's going to need to be replacing at some point, so just to make you aware. And that little thing there, me saying that, I shouldn't need to say that, but I do. And there's never, very rarely an issue that comes up after that. It's when you don't have that conversation. And I feel like surveyors could make it easier. I appreciate they've got to protect themselves. And that's another thing. Sorry, ranting about surveyors. Some of the language they use.
Yeah.
Mate, if you read survey reports for houses, you'd be like, I'm never going to buy a fucking house again.
Never buying anything.
Ever.
Ever.
Like, it's ever. It's so bad. Like, yeah, and there's always like fluffy language, like there is a opportunity for potential for this risk to appear at this time, but may not happen, but may do.
It's like really vague.
Like super vague. And I'd say, look, again, to buyers, just to let you know, surveyors are covering themselves. They've got to, because if they don't mention something, even though that may not even be there, there's always in a survey, doesn't matter what property it is, may contain trace of asbestos.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's like 0.07% in the plaster, maybe. But they have to put it, because if you then do something and find out there is something and they haven't mentioned it, you can sue them.
Yeah, and it's that insurance they have, which is a large part of what you're paying for, isn't it, in the survey costs. Yeah. I don't think people generally are very good at being pragmatic.
No.
So I think I'm a very pragmatic person, like with my approach to various jobs around the house.
Yeah, you're coving and you're painting.
But I don't think people are like that generally. So it's kind of like, if you appoint a surveyor to do something and you see their survey and that's just
take
language.
it as gospel, don't you? And I think we're in a slightly different position, because we've bought and sold. Well, you're selling for the first time. I've bought and sold myself 3 or 4 properties.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with hundreds and hundreds of transactions. So nothing's new, nothing phases me. I've seen everything before. But actually, for a buyer who's a first-time buyer, or someone who's only moved once in 10 years, I can understand you pay a professional to get their advice. You're going to listen to that professional's advice rather than the estate agent who has one thing in mind, stereotypically, which is get paid, get laid. I don't know why I said that. Get paid and move on to the next one. Ultimately, that's what we're there for.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can I tell you one of my deepest, darkest fears?
Yeah, please.
So I bought a 70s house, as you know, you've seen it a few times, 2 years ago. I didn't get a survey on it.
No.
Because I knew it was a shithole, and I knew I was going to rip everything out inside anyway. And it was obviously riddled with asbestos. I didn't even know that, but the whole garage was asbestos, internal, yeah. They'd used the fireboard at the top, which is all asbestos. The flume and the boiler was riddled with it. And I've seen a few, I hope my buyer in the future doesn't ever look at this podcast. I've seen a few cracks appearing, like on the supporting wall at the front of the garage, there's quite a big diagonal crack along the front. And our driveway's kind of falling away because I've got a block drain at the moment. So I jumped on the neighbour's drive next door and they're like tiered down from me. And there's this whopping great big crack in the concrete where my drive starts, and it's almost diagonal, big enough that I could put my fingers in. And now my deepest, darkest fear is when I sell in a few years' time and the buyer says, I want to get a survey, I'm really worried about what they're going to find. And I just have this horrible feeling that my patio at the back, we've had paddling pools on the back patio for the last couple of years, and we've just drained it onto the patio. It's now sunk a little bit. Like, not much, maybe an inch, but just a wave. Like, my patio's like a wave. And I'm just worried that there's like because I built into a hill, massive issues of subsidence, and I'm a little bit worried.
It just made it worse by pouring a load of water.
Yeah. My only saving grace is our neighbours moved in a year after us, and they are the sort of people that I guarantee they would have got a full structural survey. And theirs is fine, and I'm attached to it. So if I go down, I'm taking them with me.
Yeah.
But I'm just a bit worried about it.
What happens with your insurance? Say there is an issue.
Well, I've just renewed my home insurance, and I normally just like tick the boxes, cheapest one, yeah, done.
Not this year.
No, mate. Honestly, I went through there's a fucking 20-metre oak in our back garden, in the neighbour's back garden, and one of the questions was, is there a tree over 10 metres tall within 5 metres of your boundary? And I've always gone, that's about 5.5 metres. No. To this one, yes. I called him up and said, yep, there is, absolutely. It's 4.6 metres away. I measured it on the disto, on the laser measurer.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how high it is, but it's fucking big. Can I just make sure that is absolutely built within my report or my premium? Okay. So I pay a little bit extra, but I know I think I'm squeaky. I'm sure they'll get out of it, whatever happens.
So you've made sure you've got some enhanced.
But they have a rebuild cost as well. So part of your survey, you have how much it's going to cost to rebuild the house, because that's effectively what they suggest. If you have a rebuild cost of 100 grand and the house is unsavable, they'll only if you're undervalued on the insurance, they'll only pay you out half of what you say. So I made sure my rebuild cost was like 250 grand, which is well over what it should be.
Yeah.
And I'm paying, my premium's gone up from like £10 I was paying a month, which is like nothing, to like £35 a month.
Oh, okay.
But I don't care, because I feel like I'm secure now.
What is that? It's that peace of mind. And that extra 25 quid a month, you do that for a few years before that equates to the cost of a survey.
Yeah.
So.
Do you reckon that's a sign of getting into your 30s, that you actually like take care of your insurance? Like car insurance, I'd always like tick everything off, so just have it as cheap as possible. Now I'm like, legal cover? Yes, please. Courtesy car? 100%.
I wonder if I'm about to enter that part of my life.
Because you just turned 30, so your insurance hasn't actually come up yet.
So I did my insurance a few months ago. That's just like the cheapest one I can find.
Yeah, no, I pay a little bit more now on mine. I've got everything added on, legal cover.
After we had a leak here in one of the pipes, I was like, we need to upgrade our insurance. We haven't done. I was like,
but you sell it now, and you say it's all right.
I was like, lightning's not going to strike twice in the same place. Touch wood.
Fair enough.
Yeah, cool. Right, surveyors and surveys.
Waste of time.
Stuff. I also
not really. They're not a waste of time.
You get one done at your own discretion. Yeah. I also had to fix a roof tile on the roof, which is an annoying job.
Do you do it yourself?
My ladder wasn't tall enough.
Yeah, well, it was 2 stories, 3 stories high, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the second row of tiles, so if the ladder was a foot taller, I could have got it. I'd pay 100 quid for a roofer to just put a ladder
tile back up.
Yeah, I felt very unmanly paying
someone
else paying 100 quid to just bring a ladder around.
Couldn't you just put a little message on the Facebook group for your development, says anyone got a double-story ladder?
Yeah, I tried, no one cared.
Well, fair enough.
If you put a post in there like, my kid's doing a lemonade stand, or everyone's like, oh, lovely. If you ask someone for some help, no one cares.
No one cares. Fair enough. Cool. Right. Topic number 2.
What we got? Yeah.
Perks of being self-employed is you have
crippling anxiety.
Crippling anxiety is not a perk. Yeah, but you have no one to answer to. Your diary is your own. Like, if you don't put anything in your diary, then there's nothing in your diary. Like, there's no one you have to answer to. There's no things you have to do at all. So that's good, because you can just book holidays whenever you want. The downside is, when you go away for a week, you are constantly thinking about your business and should I be answering my phone? Should I check my email? Should I do this? Should I do that? Because nothing really happens without you being there. Now, I know it's slightly different for you because you've got the other larger, more follically challenged in hair particles, Matt. That was really rude, wasn't it? But he is, yeah. The bald Matt.
Follically challenged.
So he's there to pick up the pieces effectively for you. So it's a little bit different because you're going on holiday tomorrow.
I am.
And you're not going to Margate or south of Spain. You're going to...
Tokyo.
Don't say that like that.
Tokyo.
Off to Japan.
Yeah, off to Japan.
That's amazing.
Yeah, good.
Why Japan?
Well, my brother's always wanted to go. As I think we mentioned before, once a year we go off on a jolly somewhere.
Yeah. We went to Marrakesh last time, didn't
Marrakesh last year, and it was COVID, and we did Bangkok just before COVID.
Yeah.
So this was just the next place on the list.
Wow.
And pretty good value. Guess how much we paid for flights? Maybe I've told you already.
You have, yeah, but just for ease on this, I'll guess at, just for obviously, make it look good.
Pretend.
Yeah. I reckon return flights to Hong Kong, I reckon you paid about £600.
To Tokyo, not Hong Kong. But
yes, same place. Not.
Yeah,
that's not the same place. Tokyo is very different. It's a different country.
It's about similar sort of area on the
It's only
map.
because I've been dealing with loads of bars from Hong Kong recently. That's why. It's just I've just done a viewing with someone from Hong Kong. It's just Hong Kong on the brain at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we're stopping off in Shanghai.
Okay.
Just north of Hong Kong.
Fine.
And then over to
You're going
Tokyo.
to Japan. Yeah. £600 for flights, and no, it is.
It's about 570 it was.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, it's pretty close then.
Yeah, well, it's almost as if you knew already.
Well, last time you said, when you called me and you're like, guess how much my flights were? And I was like, judging by your enthusiasm, 450. And you went, no, they were 550. But...
Yeah, you did the thing where if someone sounds excited, you always under.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
If you'd said, oh my God, guess how much my flights were? I'd been like, 750, 800. And you're like, no, man, they were 550. But anyway, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the amazing hotel you got booked.
And we're staying in these pods, they call them, which is just like it's just a pod. It's just like a hole in the wall where it's just room for you to sleep.
It's basically a double bed with a couple of shelves around the outside, isn't it?
It's like
for your bag and stuff.
Like almost a little hamster cage for a human.
It sounds cool though.
Without the running wheels and a little sleeping bag.
And they're like tiered up, aren't they? There's like 4 in a row, isn't there?
Yeah, so you climb up your little ladder, you go into your pod, you've got your light, you've got your USB charger. I think they give you like a towel and a pyjamas and stuff.
Is there a door at the front?
I think there's a little privacy curtain.
Wouldn't you be annoyed though if there's a couple, getting up above you?
No, they're all separate, so male and female. And I think I'm quite intrigued, because I think they're very like that in Japan. They keep like male and female, everything's quite orderly, and
yeah, makes sense.
So there's not going to be some couple just going at it.
I don't know much about Tokyo other than what I saw in Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, we watched that film the other day
recently,
actually,
just to get yourself
soak
prepared.
up some of the culture.
What is your plans? What are you going to do? Like, have you got anything particular? You're just going to go and sightsee, or have you got kind of a criteria?
Not really. We're going for 6 days, which I think is a good amount of time.
I think it's a long time for Tokyo.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think
there'll be a lot of noodles you'll be eating.
A lot of noodles, a lot of food.
A lot of fish. It's not cooked.
Yeah, raw fish.
We just stereotyping these, yeah.
Sake or sake? Sake.
It must be so nice. So when you go into like the town centre of Tokyo, and you just can stand normally and just see above everyone else.
Yes. Yeah. Looking down on everyone.
They're all about.
I do that enough here.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's going to be fun. So I'm off tomorrow, and managing work. What else?
Are you worried, apprehensive, concerned, or are you just going to get all your ducks in a row today?
Not anymore. I think what I've been doing, we're 18 months in now, and I think what I've learned is that you need to proactively plan for going away.
Yeah.
And just manage everyone's expectations while you're away.
Yeah.
Remember the days when you're employed, where you could be there on a Friday, be like, out of office, I'll be back in 2 weeks. If you need me, good luck.
Yeah.
See ya.
Call the office, here's the number,
Done.
And then someone calls up, says, can I speak to Matt on a Monday? Oh no, he's on holiday for 2 weeks now. Oh, he didn't say anything. why would he? It's like, it doesn't owe you anything.
Like whatever.
But now we're so engaged with our clients, we need to.
And it's like a guilt as well.
Yeah.
Going away. But I think if you just manage it.
That's a good point.
Let people know.
So we just paid off our holiday actually. So we're off to Fortaventura. Mila calls it Ferriencia. So we're going to Fortaventura. But we fly out on the 16th of December.
Is that Portugal?
No, Canary Islands.
Right.
España. But it's more like, it's closer to Africa than it is Spain, but it is Spanish islands.
Like Cape Verde, sort of that far down.
I don't know where Cape Verde is.
Okay.
No, it's literally in line with North Africa, but out in the sea.
Oh, okay.
Out in the sea. It's lovely. I've been there probably been to the Canary Islands, I reckon, 15 times.
Oh, this is your little family.
We always used to go at Christmas every year. We used to go to Lanzarote for a week, either before or after Christmas. Anyway, we've done that, hoping it's going to be about 20-25, but a perfect week off. But I'm already thinking it's going to be December, it's going to be quiet. Do I just WhatsApp people while I'm there, or do I just literally shut off? And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell all my clients, going away for a week. My good friend Matt Barrell said he'll take any of your calls if you need it. Pass him your number. But just leave it and not check my emails, not do anything. That's what I'm thinking I'll do, because it's a week before Christmas, so this is going to be shut. There's nothing really that needs to be done, is there?
I think December and late August are those nice times where there's actually not a lot going on.
Yeah.
When I went away in late August, there just wasn't a lot going on. Yeah. I had my phone on me. It was pretty quiet. So I think maybe as part of our business, we need to learn to enjoy or tie in our downtime with those quiet periods and embrace them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Or even if it's just, because I was thinking maybe I'd just take my laptop and just do an hour of work in the morning, just reply to people just to say I'm away, I'll call you when I get back. Or I just don't and just leave leads open. I don't know. I don't think that's the right thing to do. But it depends on what. Good plan would be to get everything sold before I go away, and then I won't have to worry.
That'd be great.
That'd be the awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah. There we go. Well, mate, I hope you have a good time.
Cheers, bud.
I'm sure you will.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. What's the weather like there?
Apparently it's going to be okay. Like sort of 15 lows and like 20 highs. So kind of.
You taking a suitcase or you?
Rucksack.
You taking a rucksack? You literally are.
Yeah, I packed it last night.
For a week.
Yeah.
That's what I love about blokes. Love it.
Yeah.
My mate and I, obviously I'm massively into my mountain biking. You know that. I mentioned that in the pod for a while. And they've just released next season's Downhill World Cup. So basically there's 6, 7 or 8 rounds, depending on the year. There's 7 next year. And they have a space, they have a weekend of racing every couple of weeks throughout the summer. And they go to Poland, Switzerland, France, Scotland, America, Canada, all over the place. And I spoke to my mate, I was like, look, the Austria one seems great, or Switzerland. We'll just hop in a car on a Thursday, drive straight down, we won't book anything. If we have to sleep in the car, sleep in the car, just with a rucksack. And then Lauren piped up and said, oh, I'd like to come. But she said, I don't really want to, we need to get a hotel though. I'm not going to book a hotel. And then what about, should we fly? This has gone from like a couple £100 weekend away to watch the mountain bike. It's like a festival. So every night you watch the biking during the day and then it just turns into a festival at night. Beers and just everyone's just muddy and it's just great. Shorts, flat cap, that's it. No t-shirt. And the whole vibe will change if women come. Nothing wrong with women, of course. I love them.
It's the dynamic.
Yeah.
The dynamic. It's not talked about a lot, the dynamic, or the vibe, as the kids would say.
So me and Tom, we'll just bowl down there and we'll find somewhere to sleep, whether it's in the woods, if it's hot, or we'll find a little hotel around the back alley somewhere and it'll be like 20 euros for the night. Yeah. Double bed, cool, jump in, get the head down for a couple of hours, off we go again.
You'll figure out.
Yeah, but no, everything has to be planned. You have to book it. So it'll go from being a couple £100 to being £1,000 easily, which I don't want to do. It's not the vibe.
That's the trouble when things just get carried away. So I think me and my brother, when we go away, it's like, right, this is what we're doing. This is a budget.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Perfect. Good shout.
So find out more when I come back.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about it.
Let's wrap this up for now, shall we?
Let's do that, close. You close, my friends.
Well, thanks for watching. This has been episode 32. 32. Find us on all social channels of your choosing. We've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got...
That's it.
That's it.
YouTube Shorts, if you want to separate them off.
LinkedIn, or Ryan and Lauren Avocado Property, Matt and Matt Avocado Property. Just we're everywhere. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Nice one.
Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.